Dave Kuziak is with us. Dave, how are you?
What's going on, brother?
I know that you were supposed to be here an hour and a half ago, but you had a little trouble this morning.
If I could tell you what I've been through already, I have a 2016, and there's a couple glitches. I always start it, and I do have a remote, but it kind of acts up. So I went to go start it. I know I didn't hit a button. I shut the door, and it was locked. So I jumped in my wife's car, drove from Schererville to Hammond to go get the keys, and back to Schererville, and back here. So it's all right.
So
I've been up since
the car
4 o'clock.
was running all that time?
I ran for about probably 50 minutes. I was actually thinking just come here and let it sit.
Until it runs out of gas.
Until it runs. And then, that reminds me when I was a kid, I did it one time on Monroe, and we took my dad to work, and my mom had to go to the store or something, and I locked the door. And my dad was on midnights, and I felt so bad because we were poor. And I remember it was a 77 gas guzzler Chrysler New Yorker. And they're like, oh, it's going to run until your dad gets home in the morning 8 hours later. I ran all night long with locked. So I'm notorious for that. I used to do that when I went to Purdue Cal. I would study for 5 minutes before I went into class in my 1979 LTD, or my mom before I bought my own car, their car. And so I'd have the keys in there, and I'd shut the door, and I'd always lock them in. So it's one of the things that happens when you have a lot of things. When you have ADH and you're thinking of 10 different things, leaving your keys or locking them or this or that happens all the time. You know about that, don't you?
Well, I was good at, getting my golf clubs out of the trunk and throwing my keys down and picking them up and then shutting the trunk. Yeah. Oh, all the time. And, hey, and then it's not like you have a phone. You could be in the middle of nowhere sometimes, and you're just screwed.
I'll do that at the shop, so I try to keep my keys on me because sometimes they'll go in and open the shop, and I put the coffee machine on. And then I start walking around, and I'll shut the door, and I'm like, I'm locked out. It's not a good feeling.
Hey, Dave, you want to talk about somebody who passed?
Before we get into what you want to talk about, this week on Sunday and Monday, we laid to rest a family member and dear friend. I want to talk about that just for a second. Porter resident Rodney Pol. I'm going to read the obit. Porter resident Rodney Pol Sr. passes away at 65. Rodney Pol Sr., 65, of Porter, Indiana, passed away on Sunday, February 22nd. He was born on February 12, 1961, in East Chicago, Indiana, to Salvador Pappy and Rosa Santiago Pol. Rodney is survived by his loving wife of 42 years, Tammy Aguilera Pol, two sons, Rodney, who is Rodney Jr., who's a state senator, Elena Pol Jr., and Jonathan Pol, two granddaughters, Natalia Pol and Cecilia Pol, two brothers, Noel, Patricia Pol, and Eddie Pol, sister Lisa, Tony Bustamante, mother-in-law Judy Aguilera, goddaughter Mariah Pol, brothers-in-law John, Vanessa Aguilera Jr., Louis, Linda Aguilera, Paul Aguilera, Renee Aguilera, Michael Lynn, Schobach, and many nieces, nephews, extended family, and friends. Rodney was also survived by his mother, Rosa Pol, who tragically, and this is very difficult to say, tragically passed 2 days after him. So they will be laying to rest his mother after laying to rest Rodney this weekend. They'll be laying her to rest this coming weekend. He was preceded in death by his father, Salvador Pol, and father-in-law, John Hawk Aguilera. Rodney was born with a brilliant and ingenuitive mind and defined hard work and self-sufficiency. He was proud to be from a Puerto Rican steelworker family that came to Northwest Indiana with not much more than each other. From a young age, Rodney had a passion for both learning and teaching. He became a mechanic and rebuilt his first car in orange 1970 Chevelle at age 15. He worked midnights for 3 decades, making sure the Chicago Tribune and then later the Northwest Indiana Times were printed on time and on top quality. He spent the last decade producing steel at LaForge in Cleveland Cliffs, minutes away from his home he built for his family, whom he spent his life supporting. He loved the dunes, but really he loved the water. He found his peace with a fishing rod and any river, lake, or ocean that would bless him with bite. Rodney loved soul and classic rock music and a good party, that's for sure. If it wasn't a good party, he'd help you get it started. He was warm and had a welcoming smile, believed in people, and would help anyone who just needed a chance. He treated everyone with respect, and you couldn't help but give it right back. Although he worked midnights for over 3 decades, he rarely missed any of his son's games, cross-country meets, or concerts. He was a devoted, supportive father who worked tirelessly to give his boys the best opportunities he could. He knew how to fix everything, and if he didn't, he loved learning how. Nothing was broken to Rodney, just a project waiting to happen. He loved sharing his gift, teaching anyone who wanted to learn, and he wasn't going to give you the flashlight. You'd be the one using the tools. So it goes on, and that's just a little smattering of Rodney Pol, age 65. Line was out the door on Sunday, and we had a celebration of life on Monday, and just wanted to put that. Rodney was a good egg, and his son, if he has a legacy, which he does, it's his children, and he was brought up the right way. So, Rodney, here's to you, brother. You did it the right way.
All right. Thanks a lot, Dave, for talking about that. I know that it's very difficult right now. The state senator, Rodney Pol Jr., he's been very active, and that's probably where people are a little bit confused on the names, but this was actually his dad.
Yeah, so Rodney, 65, East Chicago, and Indiana Harbor Yacht Club guy, loved to fish, had a boat out there. He was great with his hands. Like he said, he rebuilt his first engine at age 15. So the best part of Rodney is he hated politics until his son ran. And, the Aguileras have been in politics his whole life, so it was always nice to talk to him at all those events because he really could care less back then. And then Rodney Jr. ran, and there wasn't a bigger supporter than when his son ran and he was out there. And, Rodney had to, that district is not necessarily a Democratic Senate district. So he had gone up against some people and knocked it out of the park and doing a great job and passed the torch to his next generation, which is what we're supposed to do, correct?
I think that's Indiana Senate District 4.
I think it was Karen. What was it? Italian? Italian? The one that
Burns Harbor, Chesterton, Porter,
She wanted legal weed.
She wanted legal weed. Yeah, she in that regard she could have been a libertarian because isn't that what they do?
I don't know. Illinois is a Democratic state, and they have legal weed. I mean, Michigan has legal weed. What is that? Is that a blue state now, or is it a purple state?
It is a purple state. Hey, Dave Kuziak who's stepped in. We wanted to talk about Rodney Pol, anything senior. That if anybody wants to call in and talk about him, you can 219-845-1100. Adriana, how are you related to Dave Kuziak?
He's my cousin-in-law.
So she's a Lemos.
Yep.
I've said this all the time, and that's why when what's his name, you need to bite back at MX when he comes down on you. MX wouldn't have his job if it wasn't for your uncle. Okay, your uncle's the one that taught him how to be a welder.
There you go.
All right. So
which one? I'm like
Uncle
out of
Fred,
all of them.
Uncle Fred ran the your Uncle Fred ran the shop.
Yeah.
So
I'm like out of all of the
Papa.
Yeah,
Papa
of the four of the ones that were here, I'm like, which one are you talking about?
I tell the story all the time. I'm like a big shot when I became in my own mind, a big shot 17 years ago. I just looked because I've been a member for 17 years at the yacht club. And I'm like, let me take Fred over there, my father-in-law, Papa. Let's go have a beer. I'm going to introduce him to all these people. So we walk in, and he sits down next to me, and across is the guy that's running the whole place at the time, Joe Sadler. And I go, and his wife was the lead bartender there, Anna. Everyone knows him. And I'm about ready. Let me introduce him. And Joe Sadler looks over and goes, "Is that Freddie Lopez or Freddie Lemos?" And he goes, "I wouldn't have been a welder without him." And then Fred looks at me and goes, "I ran the shops." He goes, "You know who built this place, right? All the bosses at Inland. You know where all the stuff came from? All this material that came from Inland Steel." He said this place wouldn't have been built unless I looked the other way to let all this stuff come. That's I guess the limitations are over, but that building, and you've been at the yacht club before, we had parties there. That was where all the bosses from Inland used to hang out, and when they rebuilt it, that was all material from Inland, and Fred was in charge of the shops, so he knew a lot more than I did about that place. So it's one of those things. So
how are you related to Freddie?
That is my uncle. He was my grandfather's brother.
So your grandfather is the youngest brother.
Yes.
Fred is the second oldest. Mm-hmm. All five of them went to the service. All five of them worked in the mill. All five of them were veterans. Mm-hmm. And I had an opportunity to speak at several of their funerals. Your grandfather passed away during COVID, so they weren't able to celebrate that. But it's very similar. Same thing here, like with Rodney. When you give a eulogy to these people, they went to the service, they came back, they worked in the mill for 40 years. They were Little League coaches, they were fathers, they were part of the community, and they led by example. Very rarely did they brag about it; they just did it. And that's what we need more of. We need more of them and less influencers. Mm-hmm. Okay? And when you have more of those people, the United States was a better place. Less influencers. Influencers are a bunch of people who basically have really accomplished nothing, but have a bunch of people listen to them. Those people accomplished real deeds that made this world go every day. And I say that with the utmost respect to the Lemoses, to Rodney Pol, and all those others that did the right thing.
What do you got against influencers?
I don't have anything against them. I was listening to who's the one guy that's like real big? He just interviewed President Obama, Cohen or something.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
So I learned a new term. You'd love this. I'm becoming one of the year 2026. So he's getting interviewed by someone from the other side, and they ask him, and he's, I guess, a real rich guy. He's got millions of listeners or whatever you want to call them, and he's like, I don't go out of the house but 5 minutes a day. You don't leave your house other than 5 minutes a day, and you're influencing people? So my wife said there's a term that you have to use for that. It's called touch some grass. In other words, live a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You're going to influence who about what? You don't leave your house. What do you know about life? Very little. But when they get a lot of clicks and this is the problem. These people, we gave them the microphone. But the crazies always existed, Jimmy. We just gave them the microphone. Or they created their own. We didn't give them the microphone. They created their own, which is smart. I don't think they do much, but make money.
What do you mean the crazies have always existed?
Crazies have always existed. You think that it's just
you
like
think
people
just born?
You think that it's like all the people now that are the helicopter moms. Look, when I first met your brothers. I first met your brothers 1974. I was 6. Butch was 8.5. Jeff was 8.5. Brian was 7. And we walked to Eads. No parents. No one worried about that. We were playing catch football. No one stole any kids at Eads schoolyard. There was no parents hanging around. And then there'd be another 5 kids there, and you'd play all day long. No one stole any kids. There's no more people stealing kids. There's just 700 channels telling you that it exists. So helicopters, Mom, can I do a play date? No. If you call me and you ask for a play date, the answer is no. That means your kid's like you. I don't want them around mine. A play date. How about knock on the door? I was at Jarko's the other day getting my car work done, and a kid comes up and he says the last name. It says Kokel. I said, which one are you the sons of? He said, Greg. I said, tell Greg I said hello. They lived right across the street. Or backyard to backyard. They lived on Jackson. Teddy and Scotty were my age. Greg was a little bit younger. This was Greg's son.
I know who the Kokels are.
We played every day.
Yeah.
Mrs. Kokel, who was a great lady, so was Mr. Kokel, Adam. I don't call him Adam, Mr. Kokel. Can you imagine Mrs. Kokel calling my mom and saying, is Dave available for a play date today? What is wrong with this world? I mean, I'd knock on his door, he'd knock on my door, and he'd be like, hey, man, let's go. We got a wiffle ball game going. Okay, I'll be out in a minute.
So wait a second. You're against influencers
and play dates.
And you're against play dates?
Yes. No, I'm against setting up play dates. I'm all about kids playing with each other. Parents don't need to call. That's why they don't know how to talk to each other. There's going to be – I was listening on the way in as I was driving back and forth to Hammond from Schererville. I graduated in 91 from Purdue Cal in a very similar situation as what's going on right now. There were no jobs. Not only were there no jobs, and this is what's going to happen real soon here, we had people that had been in the workforce for 3 to 5 years that got laid off. So we're competing against – you're looking for your first real job, and there's people that had worked their first real job 3 to 5 years. So they have experience, and they bought a car or an apartment, so they're willing to work for less to get a job. It's tough go. I remember that feeling. If you could get anything – you were doing anything and everything you can. If you remember that, Jimmy, in 91. And so it's tough. It's tough. You have to be able to talk and interact with other people to get a job. And if this last generation, and it's not just all their fault. COVID had a lot to do with it. They don't know how to interact with each other. Who's going to who's going to go do a sales presentation if you call someone out in 5 years or 10 years when they have to go sit at someone's table and talk about their roof or this or that? I don't know. These kids don't know how to do it. They don't know how to look in each other's eyes. Look, it's okay, Jimmy. Look, I'm looking in your eyes. We're okay.
I got these glasses on, so your eyes are really big.
We're speaking to each other.
So
I'm always teaching. So this is for the young kids. Learn. I'll tell you one thing that there's always going to be work in: sales.
Oh yeah.
So you learn your communication, and I remember Mary Beth O'Connor always saying, regardless if you go into radio or television or not, you will always find work being able to communicate. And we have lost that skill set. So I would tell anyone that's looking for work, go take a communication class, hone your skills, get into sales, learn. It sucks at the beginning because you're going to get told no. And then once you get told yes a couple times and you start making some money, it's really a great career if you ask me.
Do you have to listen to this at like first communions?
Honestly, I don't remember my first communion.
We don't see each other as much because everyone's grown up. But
yeah,
unfortunately,
at
reunions and sometimes unfortunately
the grad parties.
Yeah, at grad parties, and we celebrated your grandmother's 75th, wasn't it?
Yeah.
75th a year or two
Yeah,
ago.
and we had a watch party because she was like, I want to watch Purdue play.
Yeah, it was.
And she didn't know. It was a surprise party. She didn't know. And she was just like, we had to joke with her favorite color is pink. So my aunt, she was like, okay, well, I got to go to a baby shower. You're going to come with me. She's like, okay, but we're going to be at home in time for the Purdue game, right? And she's like, yes, we will. We set up a projector and everything, said surprise, happy birthday and everything. She looks at my aunt. She's like,
we're not watching the Purdue game?
Yeah, what are we doing? And it turned into her like birthday party for the first hour, and then the second half was watch party.
But here's the problem when you do that. I did this one time for Lisa. She had got a promotion. This when we were young. I'm like, we're going to go up to the city and go grab something to eat to get her over to her mom's, and the whole family was there. It was her first promotion. And we go there, and the family's all there, and she's like, we're not going to the city. She literally goes like this to me. And I learned at that point, don't ever say you're going to do something that would be considered, I don't want to use the word better, but you know what I'm saying, something you don't do all the time. She's like, we come over to my mom's all the time with everybody here and we eat. You know what I mean? Like, so why is we're not going to the city? I go, surprise!
We'll do it next week.
Hey, Kuz, you haven't been on in a while.
I was on with Frankie about a week ago.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, to just sit and openly talk about nothing, what bothers you right now in the world?
I don't know if I'd necessarily say bothered. One of the things that, especially with my health, and I'm actually in a very good place right now. I have Jameson. Tomorrow is a perfect example. I was listening to whether we're going to go to the game or not. We have, by the way, Bucky Daniels, who passed away at the club we're having, I think it's his second annual fish fry tomorrow. So at Goodfellas. So we have a meeting tonight. I'll pick up the tickets.
Can anybody go to that?
Yeah. But
so I could show up at Goodfellas?
Yeah,
because every time I go there, like there's like 3 or 4 dudes that want to come up and hug me and rub their aftershave.
There's going to be 65 people there tomorrow, and we've already sold close to 60 tickets. But it's its second annual. Bucky used to do a fish fry, and him and his wife would do it.
I remember.
And so it's Brian Giovingo, who's the ATF guy, member, is in charge with others. So last week we went to Bishop Noll's Fish Fry, and we had 4 generations. So tomorrow I think Lisa's going to pick up her mom. And so here's the deal. It starts at 5:30. The game's at 6, and it's at Westside. So Jordan and Josh and the baby want to go. I kind of want to go to the game, but I don't want to be in a rush. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things. So I'm in a great place spending time. Although I will say this. I will challenge the Gary sectional tomorrow. And you've been there. You and I have done many games, just like East Chicago. Does anyone want to take odds that that game starts at 6 o'clock? I'll take odds. I'll take odds right now that game does not start. I'll take odds that game does not tip off at 6 o'clock tomorrow. I'll give you 2-1 odds on anyone that wants to call in.
Why do you say it
Because they
like
never
that?
start on time, which is good for me because if I do go to the fish fry and I want to go to the game, I won't miss it. But I don't know. I may kick it around with the boys tomorrow and enjoy that. So, and then if we take Becky, and God bless her, she's 86 and she's very mobile, but it's not like she's not doing cartwheels around the building. If you know what I'm saying? Like we're going to pick her up. We're going to go, it's not like you do 6 things.
Yeah.
So if we go to the club, then we'll probably stay at the club.
So if you don't go to the club and go to the fish fry or whatever, and
by the way, I'm picking BNI. It was a great game a week ago. BNI and East Chicago. East Chicago came away and they played better in the fourth quarter. By the way, they played a phenomenal game. Hit some really big shots down the road on their home floor. My prediction is BNI over EC tomorrow, and I just think because it's a neutral site, and I think that EC's a young team. BNI is not. I'm picking the Warrior to win on Friday and then play for the sectional championship.
So that game's at 6 o'clock tomorrow. You'll be able to watch that on the Heartland Sports Network.
We may do that. We may turn. Is there a way we can turn that on at Goodfellas?
What do you mean? Is there a way?
I mean, I don't. I'm just. I mean, I know they do that for. I'm not in charge of the technology. So if we want to, so I probably don't want to go to the game if I could sit at the club and sit with some people. So we can put it on, right?
Yep. You just ask them to have the Jet TV app, and you put it on up there. The TV.
So
so Kundich will be in charge. Of that. He's the technical guy.
Do they have like Netflix and that kind of thing, or YouTube TV or something?
I mean, I don't.
Usually, a lot of bars and restaurants now, they have to have all of those streaming services because all of these different sports games are spread out amongst all streaming services. So they have to adapt. So I'm sure that they have the smart TVs where you download
They probably
the
do, Adriana, because they never miss a sports event there. Exactly. I mean, that's what the club's for. People get together and watch. So I'm not in charge of that. Kundich is the young kid that does
So who's out there for us on announcing the games? At Westside, it'll be Sam and Tim. That'll be Sam Michael and Tim Fedler. So they'll be doing Bishop Knoll versus East Chicago Central at 6 o'clock.
Here's why I want to.
Hold on, and let me get the rest of the schedule out. And then following that is an amazing game between Gary Westside and Griffith. So there's some.
That's at the Westside site?
That's at Westside. And like I mean, you're saying it would be a great thing to go watch the games there. But if you can't.
So let me ask you a question. If I sit at Goodfellas tomorrow, and I fill my belly with shrimp and perch, and by the way, I am fat. People that are looking, I've gained 10 pounds during the winter, but that's what happens when you do 2 vacations, one all-inclusive. So if I'm sitting there enjoying and filling my fat belly, what's the likelihood I'm getting up, jumping in my car, driving all the way to Westside, as opposed to going like this to Kundich or someone or the bartender go, "Can you put the game on?" And they go, "Yes." So I'm sitting in a chair like this, watching a screen like that, and the bathroom's right there, and there's warm food and cold drinks and good people. Why am I getting up? So I sound like one of those athletic directors who said they didn't want TV on because I wouldn't. But here's the one reason why I do want to go to Westside. Because my father and mother took me and Chris Shaver in 1982 or 83 when Ronaldo Thomas with Gary Roosevelt.
Was my brother playing?
No, this was the regional championship, and Anthony Jones and the East Chicago Roosevelt in the sectional regional championship. And it was one of the first games that we went to together as a family, and my grandson's going. So that would be kind of cool to go to the historic West Side where you and I have done many games together. And I also played on that floor here in 1986. We opened up with the Turkey Tournament, if you remember that. We played East Chicago Central, the very first East Chicago Central game that they ever played, because it was their first year, and the Turkey Tournament. And guess what they did? They stole our shoes. Someone ran in the locker room in Westside and stole all of our nice shoes, our dress shoes. I remember that. We were like, our shoes are gone. Welcome to Gary Westside.
Hey, do you have enough of a segment here or what? I don't know what's going on, but
it's true. It's all authentic. You could look it up.
I was gonna say, I like when you guys do segments like these where it's just conversation. It's great.
This is what happens when you go out with me, and so it could be. So if I ever come back with the podcast, you ever watch that Joe Tobacco or whatever his name is, the guy from New York? Jimmy's from Staten Island.
I have not watched Joe Tobacco.
If you look it up, he's from Staten Island.
Oh, he's like, an influencer.
An old one. So he has his own show on Sunday. He was just on CNN the other day, by the way. They have that Abby. I watch Abby Phillip at night because they have a lot of different people, so I kind of enjoy that show. But he sits like this, and there's a bottle of wine, and everybody has a glass of wine, and they just do this. And that's what we first did. So I don't want to break any news, but that's what we did for a long time here, right in that corner. We called it Region Roundtable. And then we wouldn't have any drinks here, but we'd go to Old Glory afterwards. Remember that in the afternoon?
Yes. I mean, I went to Old Glory. Have you ever been there? Mm-mm. All right, Old Glory was the WJOB bar when I worked here. Coldest beer in town. And then it had the bar, and then that old dude that looked like a sailor, Ed. And then he would walk up. His house was right there.
I know. I did. You know who? Doug Paris ended up buying that building after Ed died. And Ed's son ran the bar for a while, and then he got out of the business. So Doug Paris, I don't know if he still owns it, but he owned it. And remember, he used to have hard-boiled eggs. He had illegal bottles behind. Ed was like old school Hammond dude, and that place you can go in there and
you get whatever you wanted.
You can go get lost for an afternoon over there.
You know, the last time I spent 2-3 hours in there, I went in there, and there was a woman that I was a regular. This was maybe 10 years ago, and I go in there. It's right by the station here, and I get a drink and just sit there. And she waited, and I got to know her, and I knew some of the other guys at the bar. And then I left, and that night she got murdered.
Oh.
It was awful. I just didn't go
Any
anymore.
Other happy stories this morning, Jim?
It was awful. I mean, I'm sure somebody remembers that.
Well, here's the story, and the lady got killed.
Yeah.
Everything else. Anything else you want to talk about? Have a good Thursday. We were having cold drinks, and then she got murdered.
It was awful,
walk my dog.
I saw it in the paper.
You want to talk about when my dog died? Next, Jimmy. All right. Want to talk about when our parents died?
So the weather.
You're going to be like Anderson Cooper. It's all about grief. I mean, this guy's the richest man in the world just about. He's a Vanderbilt. What are you upset about? You ever see that? Watch CNN. It's about grief. Okay, get over it. I mean, after a certain point.
Do you realize I'm doing a podcast that Adriana is the producer for that is mostly about grief and trauma and healing from it. And you know who's doing the podcast?
Anderson Pooper Anderson.
I'm interviewing the guy. I'm interviewing him today at 2:30.
Okay, good. We could get another podcast out.
Cow guy.
Okay, I'm sure he's had some loss in his life.
Oh my God! Have you listened to?
You've had loss in your life. I've had loss in my life.
The guy was about to make me cry. I barely even know him. I'm like, dang.
I'm not for those people that are going to cancel me again. I'm not minimizing grief. Okay? I've had quite a bit of grief.
What do you got against grief?
I don't have anything against grief. I lost my dad at age 50. I lost my mom at age 67. We've lost people in our life. I mean, I think that life is full of grief, but it's also full of a lot of other things. So one of the ways that you get over your grief is to get back on the horse and get back out there, and you still have people to live for. And I mean, it's terrible. I mean, you lost your mother. I remember she was 44. I mean, but you got through. You guys got through, and that's why, like, we just buried Rodney. I mean, talk about grief. He just died, and 2 days later, his mother died. I mean, so they buried, like, Rodney Jr.'s buried his dad Sunday and Monday of this week, and then he's burying his grandmother Saturday and Sunday of this week.
It's basically the cow guy's story. Yeah.
So, but you know what? When I read that obituary, did you see that he has 2 children and there's others, and it's called the circle of life. It's going to happen. We're all going to die. Now I'm getting not negative, but we're at the final third of our life, right? And here's a crazy thing. You talked about Papa, your uncle. Mm-hmm. I came into the family, and Lisa and I had Jordan when Fred was 55. Jordan and Josh had Jameson when I was 55. So it's just the next. I was young. Now I'm the grandpa. Now I'm the papa. So, you see the kid. I went to West Side with my mom and dad and watched Ronaldo Thomas against Anthony Jones, Ron Heflin against John Todd, and now I could go today or tomorrow if I want to, and take Jameson to go watch Schooler against Moroe, right?
Rui.
So we think that what we went through is only, it's really not. Guess what's going to happen next year? They're going to have another sectional. I mean, it's 100th. We went to the 100th anniversary. What is it, 110 now, the IHSA? So I'm just saying that it's not like we're the first people to ever go through this. We won't be the last.
Dave and I went down and did the state finals in the morning, and then we went over to the bar and did.
Remember with Daryl?
Daryl from Maryville.
Remember Wayne was hungover?
Oh.
Mick was supposed to do one of the games, and they went out the night before.
First game, 9 o'clock in the morning Central Time. We leave at 4, and he sleeps the whole way. And I'm like, God, well.
We went to that bar right by Central Station. Wasn't it right underneath?
Yeah, it was a little dive bar right by the stadium. I think they had to move it out when they rebuilt Lucas Oil.
So I was telling this story the other day. So it's the 100th anniversary, and Bowman was 1A. So Bowman won 1A. Mm-hmm. Wheeler with Yogi Farrell won 2A. And the 3A game was Westside, who was coached by Ronaldo Thomas, who I just brought up earlier. And they had 2 or 3 really good guys. Brandon Dawson, who ended up going to Michigan State. And they played Washington, who had Cody Zeller, who was kind of a lengthy white kid. And boy, did I eat my words. I said, that kid looks like he's going to get eaten up. Afterwards, after they won in double or triple overtime, he had 29 points, 28 rebounds. I saw him in between the hallway when I went to the press conference. I said, kid, you had a game. But I remember Weisnora's on the call. Remember, he's talking to us. We're sitting next to the floor, and Weisnora is actually literally having an open conversation with us. And remember, he kept saying, I got to keep it. I'm trying to keep it level. Those other officials never saw kids like Lou Wallace that could jump out of the gym like that. And they did a screw job like they always do downstate. But it was a really good game. Washington had a good team.
Hey, we got to end it there. Purdue Northwest is up next. Thanks for Kuz coming in. Just be on the lookout for the new iteration of Dave Kuziak. I don't want to break anything right now. But
and my alma mater and your alma mater. See how this and so see how this is just another the what do you call it? The cycle of life. Yeah. I got called here from Professor Lee Goldman, who was very close with them.
Waiting.
No, I know, but
I'm
saying, so it's the next generation. Come on over here and intern for free. That's what
we're not
back in the day.
Not now. We're not taking any.
I know.
We're not taking any.
So Colby and Lee Goldman, Professor Lee Goodman.
Mm-hmm.
That was Colby's friend.
Yeah, he was real close. So he was my professor. Hey, Dave, they need you over there. I go, how much? He goes, he starts laughing. What do you mean? You don't get paid when you go over there. Hey, you're going to get some experience.
There you go.
She's Adriana Alvarez. She runs the morning show here and all the podcasts. If you want your own podcast, we're kind of getting backed up and kind of backing up, but it should open up a little bit in the spring. If your municipality, your law enforcement agency, your candidacy, whatever, please get a hold of Adriana at WJOB1230.com.
Can I give you one last prediction? I heard you talk about the sheriff's race. I won't talk about who's going to win. I'll talk about the percentage of vote. 17% of Northwest Indiana will vote this coming May.
We will have the Purdue Northwest people up next. And thanks a lot to Adriana. Thanks to you, Kuz, for coming in. Our condolences to the family of Rodney Pol Sr. And, the cycle of life moves on. But you're definitely condolences in your time of grief. Until next time, see you later on The Voice and Face of the Region.